Hi everybody, welcome back to Brelsford Family Homestead. I'm Darcy. As you can see, I have some food to preserve and I wanted to bring you along. I've got a bunch of green and red bell peppers, some Fuji apples. It's Fuji, right? Or is it Fiji? Fuji and Evercrisp. I wanted to bring you along when I got these, but my trip did not go as planned, but it all worked out in the end. I went to an orchard, they didn't have what I wanted, so I got these. Then I found an open produce stand and found what I really wanted was Evercrisp. So I have 2 bushels of apples to process, which is great because I need applesauce and apple butter. I don't have any of either of those and we love both. My sweet peppers did not do great this year. If you've been around, you know that. My spicy peppers all did amazing. So I was happy to see that they had these. They have a greenhouse and so their peppers had not been killed yet by the frost that we've been having. So I'm first going to wash these up. We're gonna freeze all of these after they've been diced, and then we'll start prepping these for apple butter first because I want that to cook all night and make my house smell amazing. So we won't get these all done today because I'll tell you, apples take a long time to process, to do all of the things, but it will be worth it. But I wanna try to get some of these done so I don't have to put both of these in my refrigerator. Let's get started. Sorry, the light isn't really great on this side of my counter. What I'm gonna do, these did not come from my garden, but so I'm gonna get them washed up. There is some dirt and debris on them. I'm just gonna wash them with some soap and water and also put them in the sink with some water and vinegar, rinse them off, and then we'll be ready to go. I'm gonna start on the red bell peppers first because I do want to keep them separate. There's many things that I cook that I only use green bell peppers with and some with just red, so I want to keep them separate like that. So I'm just going to cut them, remove the seeds, and then use my chopper. And I do have a different chopper right now because I broke my big one. So this will still work, but I loved having that big bowl and being able to use the bucket, but to have something right away, I just picked this up at the store. So for these, I'm just gonna slice down this, and then I will put this in the compost and any other little pieces. I'll pull all those membranes and seeds out, and then we'll see if I have to cut them smaller to fit in here. That one fits, so awesome. Well, maybe it needed to be a little bit smaller. Look at that. I have seen when I've done bell peppers actually, that putting it down with the harder skin side down made it go through easier. I don't know if you guys have had that experience or not, but I love using this. So I'm gonna get these done. This is what I got for the red bell peppers. I'm pleased with that, especially since I didn't think I was going to get any. I'm going to use pint-sized bags with a funnel here and just scoop in 1 cup. I'll also do a couple that are 2 cups. Those measurements seem to be good for me and the meals that I make for my family. So let's see how many of these we get. If you want to know, that shows the size difference there. I'll get the rest of these made up. I ended up with 7 of the packs with 1 cup and 2 packages with 2 cups. I'm really pleased with that. And I wanted to say one of the reasons I use that funnel, because you might think, well, why use that? It's another dirty dish, is because I try to keep this area on the bag as clean as possible so that it doesn't interfere with the vacuum sealer. We're doing its job correctly. And it just makes it easier and neater too, because if I tried to pour it in with just the cup, for me anyway, I would probably make a mess. So I'm gonna go get the vacuum sealer so we can get these vacuum sealed and put in the freezer. I thought I would share with you one of my organization things for my things for the freezer. I have a few freezers and a lot of things go into the basement and one of the freezers down there, but I also keep some in the freezer in my kitchen. And I also have another freezer elsewhere in the house, and that one is a fridge freezer with just like the normal box up top. And so I use these. I can fit 2 on top of each other, and I think it's 3 across plus one other thing, and it holds things nicely, and I can organize them by type, and you can either lay them down like this, or shorter ones you just stack them like that. So anyway, I picked these up at the dollar store several years ago, and I probably should get some new ones because I noticed this one has a little crack, but it's still working. This is Belle Belle. She was over here making all kinds of noise, even though her food bowl is filled. I thought she should say hi. You want to say hi? She's not thrilled with this. Anyway, now I already forget how many. I finished I will put it here, how many cups. I think it was 23 or something like that, but I'll count again. I did some in the 2 cups and some in 1 cup. So now I'm gonna put these in the freezer. It was 24 cups. I got all of my bell peppers in the freezer, so now I'm gonna start on, well, I have started on the Fuji apples. They are seconds, so there are some blemishes and things. And so after I put it through my apple machine, if you guys have seen one of these before, it's real simple. It peels, cores, and then slices them. And so that is the method I always use for preparing my apples for apple butter. I'm just gonna do a small batch because it's already late, although it's not terribly late. It's been a busy weekend. So I'm just gonna do a small batch in the crock pot, and then I'll work on these some more tomorrow, and also my kids will help, so that will help it go a lot faster. But I really want to get that apple butter going. I love having the smell of that. So I just have a tray next to my apple machine, so all of the scraps, the peels, I'll show you just right here, and the cores. And I typically make apple scrap vinegar when I process my apples, but when I was getting something out of the cabinet today, I still have a good bit in there. And so I think I'm just gonna feed it to the chickens and put it in the compost and not bother making vinegar this time, and feel totally okay about that, because compost and feeding the chickens is a good thing too. So it's pretty easy. Whoop. I had one on there, so you pull it back and put it on this spike, if you can see, and then you just spin it. You can adjust where the blade is and things. Sometimes it does get knocked around and then it's not coring quite the right spot. But you see, it's just like a big long string of the peel. Pull that off and the core is gone. Now, because these are seconds, you know, I'll go and look through and make sure there's no blemishes. I don't cut it up because it because it will just cook down for the apple butter, but I do cut it in half because sometimes there will still be seeds in the middle, and or the kind of hard part that's in the middle. And so I just check that. I use a knife, you know, and get those pieces out and just keep going and going, having some snacks as I go. So I probably won't fit a whole lot more. I'm using a rather small crock pot, so I will mound it up though, because once it starts to heat up, it will go down. So I probably will only fit maybe up to 10 more apples in here, but that will be fine and delicious. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done filling it anyway. And then of course tomorrow I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Too bad you can't smell it. There's a different angle so you can see how this works if you've never had one of these. I'm not sure how much they are right now. They used to be about $20 or $25, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check. They could be more, just like anything else right now. Oh, I dropped some. If there's any peel left on, like there is there, then I just like to take that off, because it doesn't give, for apple butter and stuff, it doesn't give a very nice texture. And then there's some blemished parts. I just cut that off, then it's good to go in. I forgot to show you that it does this. Isn't that fun? I've got this pretty full. I did weigh it after the cores and peels were removed, and it's just shy of 3 pounds. And I do have a little bit of fresh apple cider in there. So I'm gonna let this cook down, and I'll share what it looks like with you tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you how it smells because it's gonna be amazing. I wanted to show you what it looks like this morning. This is not quite done for how I like to do apple butter, but it's looking great. And Joe said when he came down, it smelled like a warm hug in the house, and it certainly does. This batch of apple butter is ready, and I wanted to show it to you. Ignore the dishes in the background. It is very thick, and we'll taste it together. Now, I am not going to can this batch because it is so small. My family loves apple butter, and we've been out for a while, so I guarantee that, especially my oldest daughter, she'll be eating this every day. So I'm not going to can this one, but see how nice and thick that is. Now this is the Fuji apples. I will make some with the Evercrisp as well, but there is no sugar in this at all. It's just the apples and cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and allspice, and some of the fresh apple cider from that orchard. So it's so good. Most recipes do ask you to add sugar. I don't. It's so good, and it's not needed. When you cook it down like this too, it's just so concentrated. Make some of this for yourself. Now I have lots more apples to process, and I will show you some more of that. But today for me is Sunday, and I'm gonna rest the rest of the day. It's been a fabulous day, but I need a little rest, especially for my knee. So I'll be back with you the next time with these apples. We're gonna make some applesauce and stuff. I'm back. We're gonna make some applesauce today, and I'm sure some apple butter too. I was looking at my different recipes for making applesauce, and there are a couple. I have this book that has a recipe, and this is the printout from National Home for Food Preservation. They're very similar, both of them. The sugar is optional, which I always choose to not add sugar, and it is plenty sweet. They both have a 1/2 inch of headspace for them. Quarts are 20 minutes for the ball and 25 for the National Center for Home Food Preservation. The only difference in ingredients is the ball book calls for lemon juice. So whichever one you're using, whichever one you like. I am going to be using my Squeezo food mill. You need to either just cut them and cook them till they're a little soft and put it through the food mill, or you can use one of those apple cutters and that slices them and cores them, but you still have to cook them down. Or you could even use the apple machine to peel, core, and slice them. And again, you would still have to soften them to go through the food mill, and that apple machine will take a lot longer than just slicing them and cooking them down. So I'm gonna get all this stuff together, find my big crock pot to make a much bigger batch of apple butter than we made when we were together last, and hopefully get through some more of these apples. I've got some apples weighed out for the applesauce. My things say 21 pounds average for a canner load of 7 quarts, which I do want a can in quarts, so that's what we have here. I have part Fuji and part Evercrisp just to kind of mix them up, and then I weighed out some Evercrisp for the apple butter, but I'm gonna see how many my big crock pot will fit, so I may have to get some more out. I am going to use my roaster to kind of cook these down, and I think I'm gonna try just using the apple slicer to pull the core out, because then they will cook down faster. We'll see. Sometimes it takes a lot of hand strength, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll try it like that first. If I don't like it, then I'll just cut them in half, cook them down. Let's see what we do. I'm sitting down to do this. Sorry if it's a little bit of a weird angle. I'm trying to not overdo it with my knee. It's not feeling great right now. I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. It's not much easier than just slicing them in half or quarters. But I've got my roaster. You can't see it, but it's right past the compost bucket here. Did you hear it sizzle? It's on so that I can cook these apples down and get them through the squeeze-o. Okay, this apple's too big. Okay, now I'm gonna get it stuck. All right, let's go back to just cutting them. Or I could just make sure I'm not trying to put huge ones through that, right? They don't have to be cored for this. It's just, the food mill will take care of that. I just thought it might be easier, but apparently it's not. So anyway, I wanted to ask if any of you have a large crock pot that you really love. Could you tell me what brand it is? You saw the small one I was using the other day. I think that was one of my mom's that she gave to me, or maybe it was Joe's when we got married. I think maybe Joe had it, and we've been married for 16 years. But that one's really small. I do have a big one, but like I bought it at a friend's garage sale, probably 8 years ago for like $5. And it was not well loved then. So I'd really like to get another big crock pot, but I would love to know from experience what you like. Oh, I thought there was something gross in that one. So I'm literally looking forward to having applesauce again. I'm not sure. We've been out for a really, really long time. My youngest daughter really likes it, and I don't think I made much last year at all. I'd have to go look at my papers and see what I made. I don't think I made much. And obviously I didn't make enough apple butter since we've been out of that for a while too. So I'm just kind of, I guess, cutting these in 1/6 or 1/8, some of them if they're bigger, just because if I only cut them in half, it seems like it takes a really long time in the roaster to get them soft, stirring them up and stuff. I did crank my roaster up pretty high. You can do it on the stove top too, but I like to get it done as fast as possible, because we're all busy. Got lots of stuff going on. So as they're cooking down in the roaster, I'll get the squeeze-o set up and then get the apple machine out so we can start on the more apple butter. It is like 78 degrees outside. Now for some of you, that's not hot. And it isn't hot most other times, I guess. But this is, in the beginning of November, and we've had frosts already. So I'm like going back and forth through what I should be wearing, or if it's cold, or if it's hot in the house. But it has made it very beautiful to work outside. But of course now I'm inside, and it's hot in the kitchen. So anyway, I'm gonna get these all cut up. I guess I'll show you as I stir them as they get soft. And then we'll get them put through the squeeze-o, and that is pretty easy. Then we're just, after we put it through the squeeze-o, we do have to heat it up again, boil it. Put it into hot jars. I'll be using quarts, 1/2 inch of headspace. And then we will process it for 25 minutes since I'm using the National Center for Home Food Preservation's instructions. So, do you like applesauce, and what do you like in it? Or what do you like to eat with it? My daughter really just loves cinnamon applesauce, and she just eats it by itself. I know a lot of people like to eat it with pork, but okay, I'll be back soon. As you can see, the roaster is very full, but that is all of the apples that I weighed out for this batch of applesauce, so that's great. I'm gonna cover it, and I will stir it periodically until they're all soft so we can put it through the food mill. The apples are still cooking down for the applesauce, but my daughter came and helped me used the apple machine for another batch of apple butter. This is my bigger crock pot. This is just over 6 pounds once they were all sliced and everything. And I thought, perfect time to make an apple crisp. So my husband really, really loves those. So he will not be sad to find this when he comes home. I have not made one probably since last fall. My secret to apple crisp, I do use the recipe found in this book, but I double the streusel topping, and that's like the best part. So if you want to make it, it's in that cookbook, double the streusel. You will not be sorry. Totally unrelated, but Joe bought me something I want to share with you guys because, hey, maybe you'll like them too. Somebody wants a gift idea if you belong to Costco. Look, it looks like a little saucepan. This is the 1/4 cup, 1/3 cup, 1/2 and 1 cup. Aren't those super cute? These aren't dishwasher safe because they are copper lined, but then it also had the measuring spoons with them. They're nice and heavy and thick. I really like them. And there is a 1/2 tablespoon spoon, which I like also, and there is a 1/8. So if you like that and you're looking for a set, I think it was $12.99 plus tax, obviously, but at Costco. So I was really excited that he bought me that, and I wanted to share it with you. If you didn't catch the name of that cookbook, it was the Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook. That was the 75th anniversary one, which I think I was in my 20s when my mom gave me that one. So I'm sure it's still around. It's a great cookbook. So here is the apples. They have a little bit of sugar on them, and here is the best part. It's rolled oats, brown sugar, butter, cinnamon, walnuts, a little bit of flour, maybe something else, I forget, but look at the recipe. I'm gonna show you. Put it on here, if you can see. I could not find my pastry blender, so I kind of just mixed it all by hand. Oh, Joe just texted me a few minutes ago too, and I said, guess what I'm making for you? He is so excited. I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. Hot stuff coming in. Woo! Look at that. Oh, that's gonna be so good. Smells horrible in here, I'm sure you can imagine. There's a glider or airplane landing. They don't care that I'm making a video. How about a take two? Because I was talking to you for a while and apparently I didn't press record. All right, so I got all of the apples through the squeeze-out, but it's, my Dutch oven is full, almost to the very tippy top, and there's some more to add. Because after I got done, I took all of the waste that came out and put it back through the squeeze-out, and I got all of this. So I'm gonna put this in the roaster to bring it to a boil, since this would be kind of a mess to try and bring that to a boil that full, and this won't fit in there. If I have more than a canner full, I don't know, this may be, then I can either do another round or I can put this in the fridge and can it in the morning. We'll have to see. I'm tired. You see how dark it is? It's not incredibly late, but you know, we've had fall back or whatever, and this getting dark at 6 o'clock, and I know it's gonna get earlier and earlier. It's just really bothering me. Somebody help me. The applesauce is reheated. I've got my hot jars, so let's get to canning. This is going to be up to 1/2 inch headspace. Whoop, I'm making a mess. filled it. All right, where's my little handy dandy? So I always have a spoon. Let's see how much we need to take out. We do need to debubble this as well. So I will check this again after. And after we can this, we will most likely see air bubbles in here. That is just super common with apple products. But as long as you debubble and you have your proper headspace, you'll be good to go. All right. I am gonna wipe that rim. It does have stuff on it. Using superb lids. I forgot to grab a washcloth. I'll use this one. All right, in the canner it goes. That was close. There's like a couple tastes of applesauce left in the roaster, and that's it. I didn't think I was gonna get that 7th jar. I'm glad. Full canner, and they're in there. I'm gonna crank up the heat. These will process, these will process for 25 minutes. Then we'll take them out, put them on the counter and let them sit for 12 to 24 hours before checking the seal, taking those rings off, washing them, labeling them, and putting them in the pantry. I'll bring you back to see what they look like. It's time to take the applesauce out of the canner. That looks awesome. I'll get the rest out and I'll let that sit there and take care of them tomorrow, make sure they're sealed. I appreciate you guys coming along as I took care of those peppers and in the apples. I still have a lot more apples to process, but I'll get those done over the next days, and so they will stay quite a long time in the refrigerator too. Appreciate you watching. Until next time, God bless.